introduce myself first. I'm Elizabeth Munyon. I'm the home purchasing coordinator at Maggie Walker. So glad that you all could join us tonight. I'll hand you over to Candace.
Good evening to each of you. I am Candace Turner. I'm the Director of Home Ownership for Maggie Walker. We are happy to have you here tonight, and I will pass it to Flora.
Hi all, I'm Flora Valdez-Depena. I'm the Communications Coordinator for Maggie Walker CLT. I just help out with the Zoom and the events and the website and things like that. So good to see you all here. Just wanted to really quick make a note that if you are not speaking, please keep your microphones muted and your video turned off so that we can make this a nice, pleasant experience for everyone because it's a little bit crowded in here. Thank you.
And also just a reminder, or if you all are not aware, this is a live stream recording. So we please ask that you do not give out any personal information or financial information, anything like that. And who do we have on the line? Is Jen here? Let's see who that. Are there any lenders on the line?
Hi, Mary White at Town Bank Mortgage. I'm here.
Hi, Mary. Thanks for coming. Let's see. I know it's Valentine's Day, so a lot of our lenders couldn't make it tonight, but thank you all for joining us on this holiday evening. I don't think anyone else is here, so we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so before we jump into the meat of our presentation, I just want to point out some housing resources. The Commonwealth Catholic Charities offers credit counseling and home ownership counseling, and they are a resource that would love to connect with you if you have questions about your credit and how it relates to your home ownership readiness. And then the housing resource line is a line that connects you with a bunch of different housing resources related to funding, rent assistance, emergency housing. They are a great resource as well. So our agenda for the evening is we're going to do a little introduction, hear from you all a bit, learn more about what a community land trust is, who's eligible for our program, and then dive into some of the details about how our program works, what the ground lease is. We will look at home ownership in comparison to renting, and then into our program compared with other home ownership opportunities, and then looking at how it will go when you sell your Maggie Walker home, and then go over the application process in detail so that you can ask us any questions. So first, we want to hear from you all. Laura is going to send us a poll that will just give us an idea of who is on the line tonight.
I think Cynthia is here. Cynthia.
Hi, Cynthia.
Looks like she might be having some tech issues, but Cynthia's here.
Okay, Cynthia, if you, when you get settled, you can feel free to introduce yourself to us as well. And then can we do the poll, Flora?
Yay, I got in.
Oh,
Hey, Cynthia.
Hi. Ooh, look at y'all. Hi, guys. Long
Oh,
time.
Jen's here as well. Jen, would you like to say hi?
let's see. Right, piece of issues. Cynthia, can you tell us where you work and what your role is?
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear
Hi.
you.
Okay, good. I'm Cynthia Taylor. I am a mortgage lender with Virginia Credit Union and happy to be a lender with Maggie Walker Community Land Trust. I'm here to answer any questions you have and available to assist with any pre-qualifications. And I'm just so happy to be here tonight with you all. Good to see you, Elizabeth, Flora, and Candace.
Thank you. And Jen, are you on the line as well?
Jen, it appears as though she's having a little bit of difficulty connecting her sound. So hopefully she'll be able to get in a minute.
Okay.
Any other lenders want to introduce themselves that haven't?
I think we're good on the poll for now.
Okay.
These polls that we're going to be doing throughout the presentation, they're not mandatory. Don't worry about filling them out if you can't see them or if you're having trouble with them. All right, so we have a lot of people here interested in purchasing. Very exciting. Realtor, we got a couple interested citizens and a couple fellow housers. So welcome all. Thank you.
Thank you, Flora. So we want to hear from you all what excites you about home ownership. Feel free to come off mute, or if you would like, you can type your answer in the chat. We want to hear from you all what you're excited about with home ownership.
Don't be shy. Feel free to unmute yourselves if you want to speak.
Let's see, we have one in the chat from Danielle who says stability. Yeah, that's very important. And
please, everyone, there is no wrong answer. So please
yes.
feel free to speak or to use the chat as well.
Yes, stability, investing in what's yours, creating generational wealth, building a future, moving closer to work, privacy, stability, and passing something down to your children. Yeah.
Great, thank you for sharing. We'll definitely touch on a lot of those topics tonight. So what about home ownership makes you nervous or afraid? And again, there's no wrong answer. We hope to address some of your anxieties and show you how we can all address these scary things about home ownership tonight. Yeah, the cost, money, repairs, income.
Getting stuck somewhere you don't want to be. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Great. Well, thank you all
Lack of flexibility.
for sharing those. Okay, I'm going to jump into our presentation now. I'm going to talk a bit about our namesake, Maggie Lena Walker. So in 1903, Maggie Lena Walker founded St. Luke's Penny Saving Bank in Richmond, Virginia, making her the first African-American woman to charter a bank in the United States. She was the first Black woman to establish a bank and the first to serve as president of a bank in the US. Not only was she an amazing businesswoman, but she uplifted the community with her. She empowered Black families and created opportunities for them to have stability and economic mobility. Maggie Walker not only had an impact and created opportunities for her community, she made intergenerational investments. She paved the way not only for Black business owners and community leaders, but for Black women who at the time were not deemed worthy of having a seat at the table. So in her name, we work to ensure that the communities of the Richmond metro region are diverse and inclusive, with safe, attractive, affordable, and sustainable housing choices for all people. Like Maggie Walker, we focus on intergenerational investments and wealth building. Hi, Leah.
Hi. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to join. Sorry I'm late, everyone. But hey.
You
Leah,
can go ahead and
introduce yourself,
yourself.
please.
Okay, yeah. Hi everyone. I am Maggie Walker's Vista. I help out with processing your applications. I'm usually your first point of contact when reaching out to MWCLT. Really happy to be here this evening. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone. That's about, I think all I have about my role today, but yeah.
Thank you,
Before we
Leah.
move on, Elizabeth, let me add two things really quickly. We are in Black History Month, and Maggie Walker's house is downtown on Lee Street, so we do encourage you to take advantage of that. But also the bank that she started, Consolidated Bank and Trust, is also downtown. It's no longer a Consolidated Bank and Trust. It's not too far from Mama J's, if you're familiar with that restaurant. Just to get some landmark as we work together, and Maggie Walker Community Land Trust works to do the work of home ownership for prospective home buyers. We encourage each of you to dig a little bit deeper in the history that's so rich right here in Richmond. So I just wanted to add that as well. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Thanks, Candace. Okay, so we have two main roles as the Maggie Walker Community Land Trust, and you probably know about us through our role with affordable home ownership, which we're going to be talking about tonight. But we also operate the Richmond Land Bank, which is a program of the Maggie Walker Community Land Trust that focuses on returning vacant properties to productive use for neighborhood development. So tonight we're going to be talking about community land trust specifically and our affordable housing program. And I will take another moment to elevate the history of community land trusts. So the first community land trust in the US was in Albany, Georgia. It evolved in the 1960s. And it evolved at a time when Black citizens were sharecropping land and were getting kicked out of their homes if their white landlord had found out that they had registered to vote. So in response to that, a group of activists bought a large farm and had the intention to farm the land together while everyone owned their houses individually on that shared land. And there's a lot more to the story of New Communities, Inc. and the origin of community land trusts. But as the interest in CLTs and other forms of community ownership grows, it's critical to uplift this history. And I think it's an important part of our work. So what is a community land trust? Community land trusts are nonprofit, community-based organizations that are designed to ensure the community stewardship of land. They are primarily used to ensure long-term housing affordability, which is what Maggie Walker focuses on as an organization. So we focus on reducing the cost of homes for you all in the present, but also we focus on keeping homes affordable in the future for future buyers. And this, the way that this is done is through the community land trust model. So when you buy a home on the conventional market, you purchase the house and implicitly the land underneath the house. But with a community land trust home, you are purchasing the house at a subsidized rate, and this land remains in the trust. So you lease the land and use it the same way as a conventional house holder would use the land. But when it's time to sell your house, you are only selling your house and the land itself is never sold. The next buyer will need to meet the same income requirements that you do to be eligible for the program. And then they are able to purchase the house at an affordable price. They agree to the same sorts of resale structure when they sell. And that's how the home is sold from buyer to buyer, as long as the home exists at an affordable rate. So the CLT values are centered on racial equity, wealth generation, collective decision-making, and long-term stewardship of the community and land. And this model really balances the interests of the individual with the community. So some of the benefits of CLT home ownership really benefit the homeowner in several ways. These are some of the most affordable houses in the Richmond area. And by affordable, we mean that they are ready to move in, they're high quality, they are either recent new constructions or recently rehabbed. And we allow our homeowners to build wealth over time. And you will build wealth through your monthly mortgage payment. And then you will also build wealth by the way that the home increases in value. And that's based on the area median income wages, not the market. We'll get into that in a little bit more in detail later in the presentation. So also with our program, you receive support and assistance through the home buying process. And then also all the benefits of home ownership. So pride, stability, and a quality home. And then the CLT model also benefits the community by keeping our neighborhoods diverse and vibrant. So even as housing prices really are rising extremely high in this area, this program, this model allows homes to be reachable, within reach for us. CLTs can combat Black land loss and displacement. They can help build community wealth and strengthen community health and well-being, and also be used as tools to reduce speculation and gentrification. So there are a few eligibility requirements for our program. So you must be income qualified, which we will go in depth with the next slide. You must agree to the terms of the ground lease. You must be approved for pre-qualification. And this is a recent change. So our lenders are aware. We increased our minimum to $150,000 from one of our approved lenders. And you cannot own another home at the time of closing. And you cannot have any assets that are more than or equivalent to 25% of the unsubsidized sales price of the house. I know that's a lot. We'll go have room for questions. So these are our income limits. And this is based on the number of people living in your household. We have two programs. So we have, this is based on locality and funding. So you can either be within the 80% AMI or 115% program. And this, again, really depends on this particular house and the locality. But for example, if you are a two-person household, you can't make more than $64,450 to be in the 80% AMI home. But if there's a home that sells for $115,000, you could make up to $92,650. And this is a updated map of our MWCLT homes and where they currently are. So we operate in Richmond, Henrico, and Chesterfield. And you may be familiar with the Ettrick Landing development. That's our first subdivision that's in Chesterfield County, right outside the city of Petersburg, right near Richmond State. And that's going to be our first subdivision, and it will be 10 units. And we're very excited about that. Okay, I will use this time if there are any questions. I think there are some in the chat. Okay, something.
Actually, before we get to any that may be in the chat, Jen has connected to audio.
Oh, perfect.
So Jen Cox, if you want to sign in and say a little something. Maybe not. I guess her sound still isn't working. So I'll introduce her. Jen Cox is our realtor. She's been with Maggie Walker since we started the agency. So Jen Cox is, oh, there she is.
Okay, can you hear me?
It's a little feedback, but we can't hear you.
Can you all hear me? I apologize for the
Yeah, the
We're
sound
having
isn't good, Jen.
difficulty.
Yeah. So Jen's information, you can reach out to any of us. We have it, but it should also be listed on the website. At the end of the presentation, you'll see all of our email addresses. So feel free to reach out to us if you want to reach us or Jen specifically. Were there any questions in the chat or any other questions before we move on?
We didn't have any questions in the chat yet that I saw.
Okay, cool. You're on mute, Elizabeth.
Oh, sorry. We'll go ahead and move into things, and we have other opportunities for questions throughout the presentation. But if you want to put something in the chat, you're more than welcome to. So we're going to go into talking about the ground lease, and that's really the meat and bones of how our program is operated. So the ground lease is the legal document that restricts the price that the home can be resold and ensures that the home remains affordable for at least 99 years. And that 99 years, that is intended to go beyond your life and probably that of your children. And with that, the ground lease ensures that your home is fully inheritable. So your home can be passed down to anyone via your will or your heirs by state law. And just to plug in for our potential buyers, we offer a life planning and will document workshop as a part of our closing process. So free of charge, you are able to set up your life planning documents. So if your heirs choose to live in your home, they can either continue on this ground lease or have the option of starting a new ground lease. But if they do not want to live in the house, they can sell it at the same proceeds from the sale that they would have if you had sold it before passing. And then lastly, there is a ground lease fee, and that fee is $100 annually. So you can either pay it in $25 installments 4 times a year or $100 one time. And this fee is meant to remain around that price. It can't exceed more than $225, and it cannot be changed any year that ends or begins, or sorry, that ends in a 0 or a 5. So it's meant to never increase by the same rate as the consumer price index and never exceed $250. So another part of our program is that it is run by a board of directors that is composed of 1/3 homeowners, 1/3 public members, and 1/3 community members. So if you are interested in Maggie Walker home ownership, we hope that you would consider joining the board or even serving on one of the committees that advises the board in their decision making. So what are some unique things about our program? So the one of the most important things is that this must be your primary residence. So you need to live here full time. Like if you meet someone and decide to move in together, it's great. It's Valentine's Day, so think about that. But you can't rent out your house. You have to either sell your house or have them move in with you. You are allowed to have roommates, but you cannot turn your house into an investment property. No short-term rental or Airbnb. But there are some exceptions to not living in your house full time. For example, if there's a military deployment or a family situation that would require you to be out of your home for an extended period, but then in that case, you would need board approval or heads up that there's a specific situation that can be made on a case-by-case basis. Secondly, all renovations must be approved by our board. So that's major renovations, anything that would be asking for a permit from your local jurisdiction. So anything like taking down a wall, putting up a deck. And there's a couple of reasons for that. We want to make sure that anything that's a major change to the house is done well and to a safe and quality standard. And then we also want to make sure that any renovations will serve the future home buyers. But that being said, you are welcome to paint your house, put up a TV, put up shelves, change any light fixtures. It's just anything that would need a permit from the local jurisdiction. And then thirdly, you will build equity. So you build equity through your down payment, your monthly mortgage payment, and your home's increase in value. And again, that's based on the area median income, so the area wage increase. And so I will, if Jen is able to, are you still having audio issues, Jen? I think so.
I left some notes about the house in the speaker notes, Elizabeth, if you want to introduce it.
Oh, great. So this home just sold last week. It is in Carytown. It is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath home that was built by our partner Project Homes. And this house sold for $168,000.
There are a bunch of questions in the chat. Should I just jump in?
Yeah.
Cool. Someone asked, is it possible for a buyer to obtain housing by the end of the year if they meet the criteria?
Yes, so that is possible. If you haven't already, please fill out an application and reach out to a lender. We require that you get a pre-qualification as part of your application process. So I would encourage you to reach out to one of our approved lenders, and we do have a number of properties in our pipeline for the upcoming year.
Cool.
Or before you
yes.
move on to the next question, let me make an announcement. So I know we have some realtors on the call. I know I mentioned one realtor, Jen Cox, who works with us. But if you are a realtor, we ask that you don't use this to market towards the people that are here. So please, if you are a realtor, we just ask that you refrain from using this form to solicit possible home buyers. Thank you.
Thanks, Candace. You can go ahead, Flora, with the questions.
Okay. Someone asked, when will the first development be built? We already have, I think about 80 homes now, all across the Richmond region. Our first CLT subdivision, which is in Ettrick, is on track to be completed by the beginning of next year. So early next year, that 10-home subdivision in Ettrick will be complete. And that might be what you're referring to. There's also a couple other projects that are in the pipeline that are larger kind of subdivision projects. We can't share any kind of specific timelines about those currently. And someone asked, are you able to turn in applications in person?
Yes, you can. So we are located on Robinson Street in the Fan. We just moved from 203 Robinson to 205 Robinson, so literally right next door. And we are more than happy to accept your application in person, but we might need a heads up to either Leah or myself if you plan on coming in, because we have a hybrid work schedule.
Someone asked if a fence would require approval. The answer is actually no, right?
So it kind of depends. It's on a case-by-case basis. So we will let you know in more specific terms.
And what I'll add to that is that we do have homeowners that have fences that have been approved. But as Elizabeth said, it case by case. But we do have homeowners that have fences that were not there before that were approved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so a lot of that depends on the builder of your house. So we are we have an in-house builder, but then we also partner with other organizations in the area. So I can't speak to what they would build.
Okay. Someone is interested in the ETRIC project. Are applications being accepted?
So right now, go ahead, Elizabeth.
Oh, I was going to ask if you could put the link to the interest form in the chat.
Oh, yes. Sure thing.
You can go ahead, Candace, with the question.
Sure. So right now we are putting a freeze on ETRIC applications. To be quite honest with you, the building process or the homes won't be ready until closer to the end of the year. And so if you turn in your application now, you would have to go through the same process once we're able to literally process the applications. But you can get familiar with what we are requesting, and we'll go a little bit deeper into what the process is from, let's say, from this info session or your interest in Maggie Walker to actually get into the point of purchase. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So yes, in terms of we have not found homeowners for the homes yet, but also we are going to pause the application process right now for a little bit with ETRIC. So keep connected to the website.
Thank you, Candace. A couple other questions. If the application if they don't meet certain criteria, do you work with them on what they need to qualify for? Or do they have to try again with good standing? And other questions similarly, do you help with credit repair?
So the first part of the first one, Ms. Jonisha, I hope I'm pronouncing your name. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Application doesn't meet criteria. So in terms of our criteria that's listed, that's one piece of it. But then you also want to connect with the lender, and see what their criteria are. The lenders are listed on our website, and you'll have to do that to get the pre-qual letter. Now, as Elizabeth mentioned earlier about the 80% program and the top of what kind of income you can make, I believe it's $56,000. That is a requirement for our program in and of itself. So if you're over that and you can't get into the 115 program, then this may not be the program for you right now if you're over income in that way. So I hope that answers that part of your question. Someone asked about credit repair. We do not personally do credit repair. And we are connected, and that was earlier in the discussion, and we can give you more information on that if you want, with Catholic Charities. And Catholic Charities will work with you in developing a budget and seeing which way or what types of ways that you can work on your credit. I am hesitant to say credit repair because there are so many credit repair companies that don't do a good service and, may tell you to want to go one direction, and there's another direction that you can go that's better for you. So definitely connect with some of the resources that were listed before. Again, if you don't have access to that or you didn't write it down, this is going to be on YouTube. Also, our email addresses are going to be at the end of this presentation, so reach out to us as well.
And you will all get a link in your, I'll send you all an email with a list of resources that it does include the Commonwealth Catholic Charities, credit counseling, and financial counseling services. Okay, there's a question. Are we able to choose which area to live in, or is that assigned?
You want me to take that, Elizabeth? So we are a little bit different, well, a lot different actually, from some of the other organizations that offer housing. I'm referencing Habitat for Humanity set up where they do assign homes. We don't do that. What happens is once you've gone through the eligibility process and you're on our waiting list, Elizabeth will shoot out an email to say, hey, there's a house 2800 Alphabet Street. And if you're interested, let us know. go through the process of applying for that particular house. So no, we do not assign houses. We send out an email to say what houses are available, and then it's up to you to go through the process for that specific home.
Lenders, someone has a couple questions in the chat regarding their personal situation. So if y'all wouldn't mind answering in the chat, that would be awesome. Again, just want to reiterate, please don't share any personal information out loud. This is being streamed on YouTube, so it is public. We don't want to blow up your spot.
So to answer, thank you, Flora, for that reminder. To answer that question, that is a loan officer question. And a loan officer can give you specific answers to that. What we've tried to do is curate a list of lenders that work with people with different circumstances. So I encourage you to start with that list. If you have specifics similar to what was listed, or you just have other questions that are personal in nature, reach out to me via email and I can point you in the right direction. And I guess the last one, and then we'll move on. Give me a moment to read what's in the chat. Okay, so again, some of the things that are mentioned are personal questions, and I'll be able to answer those, or we'll be able to answer those, digging a little bit deeper, but I don't want to get too personal on here. So please reach out to me via email.
Oh, okay. I wasn't trying to get personal. I just wanted to know, like, what's the process? Like, if you didn't do your most recent tax return as of yet, would that stop you from like starting the process with the application?
No, I didn't even see I had to scroll up, Ms. Shamanique, to see your comment. No, it won't stop you from starting the process, but it is important. You'll have to have those documents ready to go to make it to the finish line, so to speak, towards homeownership.
Oh, no. I know, like, going down the line, I just meant to get things started. But I need both of them to start it.
No, you can get started. You can get started.
Okay.
There are a lot of documents that are needed. So getting started would be a good thing.
There was a couple questions about the wait list and if homes are being bid on. So if you want, Candace, I can take a second to explain how our wait list works.
Sure.
Other housing programs might work on a first come, first serve basis. We don't work on a first come, first serve basis. Once your application is complete, meaning once you have your pre-qualification letter, your complete MWCLT application with all the documents, and your there's a third part of it that comes later. But once you have all that stuff, you are in a pool of applicants. Each time we get homes available, we let everybody in the pool know at once. And then anybody can feel free to basically raise their hand and say, I'd like that. In the event that more than one person wants a particular home, there is no bidding. There's no like price bidding. Instead, we use a list of criteria to prioritize certain households with a mind towards fairness and equity. And we'll get into that later, but that's how things work.
Thanks, Flora.
Thank
Yeah,
you, Flora.
we'll go in depth into the process of applying, and then the buyer prioritization policy, and what our applicant pool, how that process goes a bit later in the presentation. So in the interest of everyone's time, oh, did you have something to say, Candace?
Yeah, just one thing. Last try. Jen said that she can get through. So Jen, we're going to give you this last try to see if you can get connected if you wanted to say something. Okay, let's move on. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Okay, so we're going to talk a bit now about how CLT home ownership compares to renting. And I am sure you all are aware that when you rent your home, you do not keep any of your monthly rent payment. And so this chart here, I just updated some of the numbers to kind of be more reflective of how the rents, the average rent is in Richmond right now. So the average payment of $1,200 a month multiplied by 24 months, multiplied by the numbers of years that you are in your home. So the purpose of my example, we're going to look at paying this $1,200 a month in rent. So after 5 years of living in this home, paying that much in rent, this is money that you do not get back if you were to move to another home. So however, with home ownership, you keep all of your equity you earn by paying your loan principal and your monthly mortgage payments. So bear with me a bit for this example of an annual amortization schedule. So for this example, we are going to look at a home being purchased January 1st of 2023. So let's say this home was sold for $180,000 and this buyer put down 3% down as a down payment. And we chose this example because the monthly payment would be the same as a $1,200 a month rent payment. So after the first year, the total that you pay to the bank for your loan doesn't change. And so you're paying the same amount every year. However, what does change over time is the amount of your money that goes into principal and what goes into interest. So as you're paying down your principal, which is the amount that you borrowed from the bank, things start to shift and that more of your money starts going into principal and less into interest. Can one of the lenders on the call tell me what would happen if this person put one extra payment a year towards their principal?
Sure, this is Mary White with Town Bank. If you make one extra mortgage payment per year, it will knock 7 years off your mortgage loan.
Thanks, Mary. Yeah, that's a good thing to think about when looking at the 30-year mortgage. Just one extra payment will knock off 7 years of your loan payment.
Absolutely. And this is Cynthia, Virginia Credit Union. Thank you, Mary. And she's so correct when she talks about the amount of years that will be taken off of the mortgage. And then for me, I equate it to, you know what? I don't need to go out this week, or I don't need to do this. If I just do that, just once a month and just cut back, that's an extra payment. Or even if I just decide, I'm not going to, do this month, what have you. That extra payment is building, to Mary's point, and someone else put it in the chat, generational wealth, because it's not being thrown away to rent. It's not going to just something you pay just to have a roof over your head. When you're renting, and that's it and that's all, when you buy, you have not only your payment going towards your equity to help create generational wealth, but it also will help knock down the mortgage payments to what Mary was talking about, to where you're actually paying yourself. Because at the end of the day, and Mary, you can agree to this, whatever you pay, you can tap into that equity to be able to do home improvements, consolidate debt, etc., through refinances, as opposed to having that money just go towards rent where it's not going to benefit you.
Thank you so much, Cynthia, for going into detail with that. That's a great way to look at everything, especially this day and age where things are just getting so expensive and rent's just getting so out of control. So after 5 years of just paying the monthly mortgage, in this example, this homeowner has earned $14,709 of equity, and this is just by paying your monthly mortgage on time. And if this buyer was to sell after 5 years, they would have that amount, that $14,709, plus the increase in AMI, the natural market increase over those 5 years. And we're going to go a lot into an example there in just a moment. But in order to drive home this example of how your mortgage works, we're going to look at this chart, but in a different way, kind of easier way to understand for folks who don't love numbers like myself. So this is a graphic representation of how your mortgage works. Since we're looking at year 2, this big blue box represents what you're paying to the bank each month for your loan. So let's say that your monthly mortgage is $1,200, $1,020 are going into your interest, and $179 are going into your principal. So most of your money is going to interest and about a quarter into your principal. Let's fast forward about 15 years, this amount has changed so that about half of it is going into principal and half is going into interest. And by year 25, assuming that you still have a mortgage and you didn't pay an extra year into your principal, most of your money is going towards your principal. So you would be paying only $350 to in interest, but $850 in principal. And so this concept is true for all mortgages, not just for CLT homes. And so in addition to this money that you're borrowing from the bank, another part of your monthly payment is your escrow. So as a homeowner, you will have to pay for your home insurance and for your taxes. And usually these are due in pretty hefty amounts. And so the bank wants to make sure that you pay both your taxes and your insurance. But instead of paying it in a big sum, you'll divide it into a more reasonable amount that you can pay monthly. And this is part of your monthly mortgage payment. So the bank uses this and they pay the insurance company and then the locality where your home is. So although your monthly mortgage payment won't change, but the escrow amount can fluctuate a bit based on your locality and the taxes, and it can kind of go up and down and vary from year to year. Do I have any questions? Before questions, I will do a plug-in for this house. This house is currently under contract. It is in the Blackwell neighborhood in South Richmond. It's a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bathrooms, and went for $180,000. And this land that the home was built on came to us through the Richmond Land Bank program. It was a vacant property that we put back into affordable housing. Okay, let's see what questions we have in the chat.
And while Elizabeth is looking over the chat to see if we have any questions, just FYI, this home, the picture that you see is a typical Maggie Walker Land Trust home. Most of them look exactly like this. It's a little bit, something may be different, like the shade of the floor. But this is a typical home that we build. Veronica Crump says, I need one like that. Veronica Crump from KW Realty that I met today. Same person? Maybe, I don't know. Thanks for being here if you are, or if you are not.
So we did get a question about the difference between escrow and principal. Do we need more clarification in that, or did that make sense with the example? Let's see. Maybe can one of the lenders explain the difference between principal and interest?
The difference. That's all right.
Mary, go ahead. Mary, I yield to you.
Oh, no. You go on. You go on.
So what everybody's hearing right now, Mary White is a lender that has been in business for a long, long time. Okay. I pay homage to her because actually she's my mentor. Okay. And she doesn't even know it. What I'm saying to you is the fact that Mary has a lot of knowledge and a lot of presence in this community. Okay. And she's been doing it a long time. I've been doing it a long time as well. Not as long as Mary. Mary, you're about 28. I'm 28 years. Mary, how long?
Oh my gosh, 37.
There you go. So you understand why I say that's my mentor. I haven't been doing it as long as her. However, we both bring something to the table. Whether you reach out to Mary or whether you reach out to me, Mary is with Village Bank and I'm with Virginia Credit Union, but we're lenders.
Actually,
where
hey,
are you
Cynthia,
now?
I'm actually at Town Bank Mortgage where I've been for a while.
Okay, Town Bank. Okay, you're right. Town Bank. And so basically, we can get you there, whether it be Mary, whether it be myself. We both have the same programs. We want to see you, everyone listening that's on this call, in a home. Our goal is not to deny you. Our goal is to work with you, what you have, and figure out a way for you to get there. We're not in the business of denials. We're in the business of home ownership. And so anything that me and Mary can do to help you get into a home for your family, for your legacy, everything, we're going to try to help you get there. Because again, we're not in the business of denying. We're in the business of helping you get to home ownership. Mary, you agree?
Absolutely. And I very much appreciate it, Cynthia. You're very kind.
Thank you all. There's a lot of questions in the chat, and we only have, in respect of everyone's time tonight, I'm gonna answer some more of the questions related to other funding sources like Vitamatch and Home later on in the program when we talk about applying. But just so I answer that really quickly, yes, we work very closely with Home of Virginia in their down payment assistance program, and we also love the VITA program with Southside Community Development, and really encourage folks to apply and take as much advantage of these amazing programs. And I will go into depth of those later when we talk about applying. Let's see here. And we will direct these lending questions to the lenders again. And we'll go more into the financial stuff in a second. So I will move on to talking about taxes, which is a big part of home ownership. So what is unique about our program is that because Maggie Walker operates as the land bank, the land is tax exempt. And there's also state legislation that says that CLT homeowners cannot be taxed on the full market value of the home. They can only be taxed on what they can sell the home for. So that combined with the fact that we are the Richmond Land Bank and being tax exempt, this is another affordability feature for our program. So you are responsible for the taxes on the home, the building, but you do not pay land taxes, and that's different from the conventional market. So maintenance, I think we had a question about this in the chat. You are responsible for the home, so that's upkeep, any kind of routine maintenance, fixing broken appliances, leaky roof, stuff like that. Most of everything is covered under a warranty at the beginning of your purchase, but after that point, you are responsible just for regular upkeep and maintenance. And you are also responsible for upkeep of the land. So you're responsible for mowing the lawn, routine maintenance of your yard as well. So what happens when you sell your home? So this is where things gonna get a little confusing, but we're gonna talk a bit more about the resale formula and then what happens when selling your CLT home and how you build equity with our program. So as you sell your home, you are entitled to get back your cash equity. So this is any down payment that you put down on your home. You're entitled to any earned equity. And kind of going back to those last slides, that is your principal that you made by paying your monthly mortgage payments. And then you are also entitled to your home's increase in value. And this increase in value, that's based on the area median income increase while you lived in your home. So this is one of our CLT homes that went through a resale last year. And I want to use it as an example because this is a real life home that I think has been resold once or twice. So this home is in the Randolph neighborhood. It was appraised for $200,000, and then because of our subsidies that we put into our CLT homes, the buyer pays lower mortgage amount, lower monthly payments, and has a lower down payment. So when you go to sell your CLT home, you start with the original sales price, and then we calculate the increase in the area median income that through that time that you have been in the home. So when this home was purchased, the AMI was $83,000, but when this person went to sell the home, it was $90,200. And that is a change of about $7,000 or 8.41%. So we look at that increase in value, multiplying the 180 times 8.41% and get $14,580. So that is the equity built just by the increase in the change in the area median income. So I just want to say that historically, this has not been the case. Wages have not decreased, but if that was to happen in the future, you are still able to sell your home for what you purchased it for. Let's see. So as a reminder, this is that amortization schedule that we looked at earlier, where the homeowner accrues this $16,225 just by paying their mortgage on time. Oops, sorry. This is actually not a bookkeeping slide. It's $14,000. I just updated the numbers today, so bear with me. But in this example, after 5 years of living in this house, this homeowner has accrued $14,700 from just paying their monthly mortgage payment. And then they have also earned $14,580 just from the home's increase in value. And so that is a total of $29,289 in equity. And then again, if this homeowner had been in their apartment or house paying rent, they would have spent in that same time period $72,500 in rent, but instead have accrued almost $30,000. So this model makes it possible to keep this home affordable for future families who may be in the same economic situation that you are in right now. And again, so we take that original sales price when we are reselling the house to another buyer. And so we add that original price to the increase in the value of the home that's based on the area median income. And then the new price is those two numbers combined. So this future resale price is set so that another family in a similar situation is able to purchase the home in the future. So this is a home in Church Hill. It's a 2-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom that's sold for $160,000. And it was also built by our partner Project Homes, and it was also using land from the Richmond Land Bank. And this is an example of what a lot of our Church Hill houses look like. They really fit into the character of the neighborhood and are going for a lot less than what homes in Churchill are really appraised for in this market. Do I have any questions?
Yeah. Can I help? Do you want me to help out?
Yes, please.
Okay. So oh, sorry, wait, I lost it. The Maggie Walker program manages the selling process for Maggie Walker homes. Is that correct? Yeah. Wait, you're muted, Elizabeth.
You're not mute. Yes, so we manage the selling in our program. Is this a specific realtor question?
I don't think so. I think they just meant like when you want to resell.
Yes.
We handle
So when you want to sell, unfortunately, I don't think April is here, but she's our homeowner stewardship coordinator, and April is the contact for all the homeowners, and she helps with the resale process in-house.
Yes.
She and Jen Cox. And again, information at the end of the presentation.
Yes.
So there's another question. Do home buyers have a chance for any customizations? I can answer this sort of. In general, we don't work with specific buyers on specific houses. You know, the houses come as they are. You know, when you do your walkthrough right before you close, you'll have a chance to, like, if there's something wrong with the house that you want repaired before you move in, there's that. But we don't generally work with buyers on customization. In one specific instance, we and another partner of ours, I think Habitat for Humanity, did work to do one ADA fully, you know, roll through accessible home. So we have done that before, but generally we don't do any customizations with specific people. And I saw a couple people asking about Ettrick and one-story homes. There will be one-story homes in Ettrick. How many of them? We don't know yet.
Yeah, we're still in the
Unclear.
process of finalizing the Ettrick plans.
Yes. We had a question, are the pipes, air, and heat all in good condition before and after the homes are resold?
Yes, so anytime there's a resale, the home goes through the inspection process, and all of those items are checklisted and updated just as you would like with a traditional on the market transaction.
Also, just to piggyback off of that, as Flora mentioned earlier, we have about 80 homes. Elizabeth, how many of those 80 would you say have been resold? It's a small portion, right?
Yeah, so Maggie Walker we're a relatively new program. We've only been operating since about 2017, 2016. So we have only had about 5 or 6 resales at this point, and we imagine that there'll be a lot more in the future.
And so I wanted to mention that because to your question about the pipes, air, and heat, the major things I'm sure that you're concerned about if there's a malfunction or anything like that, we haven't had a lot of resales because people are honestly still in their homes. But whether it's a new build or a rehab property, the rehab properties are taken all the way down to the studs. So everything is new in those properties as well. Just wanted to mention that.
Thank you, Candace.
Let's see.
I see not familiar with Randolph Community. That is, I don't know how to explain it, on the back side of VCU, maybe?
It's
behind
like
VCU?
Yeah, Randolph is kind of in central Richmond. It's like if you were in the Fan and then you just kind of cross the downtown expressway, you would be in Randolph generally. But to that person in Ettrick, yeah, there will be 1-story homes in Ettrick.
Okay, now we're gonna switch gears a bit and go into the application process. So I can keep going, or if Leah is not still on the line, I can then
Yeah.
help me out too.
I can absolutely take over. So this is just a graph our team created to help people stay with the flow and kind of know how our process works in one infographic. 1 second. I'm sorry. I'm like trying to scroll down on our slideshow.
Oh, you're okay. I will real quickly while you're getting oriented, I will let the lenders and other partners on the call know that we recently changed. We had a few changes to this where we are asking our applicants to get a pre-qualification at the front end of applying. So that is a recent change.
Right. Absolutely. Awesome. I think I am all together now. Hi, everybody. I think we're ready to go to the next slide because I told you guys it's just a flow chart for us. So these are the lenders who lend to Maggie Walker CLT clients. To purchase one of our homes, you must be approved for a conventional loan through one of these lenders. You can find this list on our website, or reach out to any one of us via email, phone call, and we will email you a link. Okay, so this is the part that's changed up a little bit in the last few weeks. So these are just the steps to the application process. So shout out to everyone for completing the first step by attending this info session. Step 2 is applying for a mortgage pre-qualification through one of our approved lenders. Your pre-qualification plus your down payment and any grants must total at least $150,000 to qualify for our program. So this is the part of Elizabeth was mentioning us changing our process. We're just requiring, instead of you turning in all the other parts of your application first, you go to our lenders. So the next step is to submit your application after you get your pre-qualification. You can find this on our website. This is what we do with your information is basically just do an income verification to make sure you qualify for our program. So you can fax it to us, you can email it to us, you can mail it in. All these ways are accepted. And like Elizabeth said, like an email or a phone call to let us know if you're going to mail it in could be really helpful. So we can try to make it to the office to scan it in for you. So for our income verification documents, we need 3 months of your latest pay stubs or benefit statements for each household member over 18, unless they're a full-time student. We also need 6 months of your bank statements for all accounts and all adult accounts, including your savings. And then we need 2 most recent federal tax returns and matching W-2s or 1099s, and also a record of any assets over $5,000. So that basically sums up the income verification part of that process that we'll do. And then we like for you to get a certificate through a home buying education course approved by HUD. So we send you a link and you should be able to sign up for any of the classes that are HUD approved through their search engine. We have partners in our region that we recommend doing this class through. So they're pretty easy to find. Just reach out to us and we'll point you in the right direction. And then once all your documents are submitted, 2 people on our team will process your application and you will receive an eligibility or denial confirmation email upon completion. Usually that process is just me and Elizabeth. She reviews my process of the applications just to make sure we cover all our bases and people don't make too much, et cetera, et cetera. And then once you get that eligibility email, you will enter the applicant pool, which is like the best part. Once you're in the applicant pool, you'll receive messages about available MWCLT homes as they come through our pipeline. The applicant pool differs from traditional wait lists. Every applicant has the opportunity to put a contract on a home that their loan can accommodate. If multiple applicants put an offer on a home, we will utilize our buyer prioritization policy, which you can also find online. And this is just so we are prioritizing based on need for our organization, and it just helps us stay accountable to who we're serving and who we're trying to serve. And this last slide, it's just funding and grant opportunities. So you can register for a counseling session with Home for access to down payment assistance. You can apply for the VITA Match program with Southside Community Development and Housing Corporation. Ask our wonderful lenders about additional grant opportunities because they always have the tea. They'll let you know what you like, if they have any access to more information, they will let you know. And then expect your closing to take 45 days and allow 60 days if you take advantage of grant opportunities, just because it takes a while for you to get through their processes. And we can't really control how our partnering organizations, their timeline, their workload. So we just try to give you a general window of like how long this process takes once you are approved, your contract is approved. And I think the last thing is like, if you're interested, so the first step is to contact one of our wonderful lenders and get that pre-qualification. So you can find our list online, like I said, and you just send that to me via email, fax it to us, or drop it off in the office. And then the second step is just review our application, and you can pick it up in the office or find it online. And then you collect and send us your documents. Once you've gone through it, you feel like this is for you, you want to jump in head first, you go ahead and send us all the things that we need. And you submitted your complete application and supporting documents to one of the following methods. So you scan an email, you scan and fax, or you mail it in and drop it off, just reiterating things that we've covered. Yeah. And our last slide, well, it's not technically our last, but housing resources. So we partner with Catholic Charities to help with credit counseling and the housing resource line as well. These are great resources for people who aren't quite ready to be ready for pre-qualification. So if you're having trouble with that, you can easily reach out to me via email, and we will try to connect you with some of our partners at these organizations to help you get to where you would like to be. And we're expanding and trying to come up with better programs for people who aren't quite ready to enter into our applicant pool and get that pre-qualification. So stay on the lookout for more updates on that front. Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Great. So we're going to use this last section here for more questions. And then we're going to, please don't log off because we have a poll, or sorry, quiz?
A couple polls.
A couple polls and a few quizzes at the end. And then your
Yes.
attendance is counted by completion of the quiz. So please.
Okay, I'm going to start with your attendance is not counted by the quizzes, just so you know. Your attendance is counted by your logging in to the thing, so don't worry about that. But Jonisha asked if you get a home here and sell and move to another state that has this program, can we go through your program again? No. Maggie Walker CLT only works in Richmond and the surrounding counties. There are other community land trusts in other places, but they are locally based organizations. So if you move to another place with another community land trust, you got to go through them.
And if you move back to Richmond after you sold that house and you want to come back to Maggie Walker, we'll be more than happy to have you.
Yes, we will welcome you back with open arms. Also, if you currently own a Maggie Walker house and you want to buy a different Maggie Walker house, that's also fine. Danielle asked, is it okay if the buyer's income eventually increases after the buying process is complete?
Yes, so we want everyone in our program to succeed, get that promotion. And we do, after you go under contract or after you sell your home and after we sell your home and you are in our program, we do not keep tabs on your income or your household situation. So we, again, definitely support you in your career and definitely encourage more money into your household.
And I just want to add to that, we don't want to displace you after you move into your home. So don't worry, we're not going to come knocking on your door asking for any more of your money once you've gotten out of that, once your contract is in.
Yeah, thanks, Leah.
If you are denied, is there a waiting period for you to try again? And this has different answers depending on if you're talking about MWCLT or a lender.
Yes, so if you are over income, I don't think we've really had this happen yet. I'm sure you're allowed to reapply if you end up making less money, but I don't think we've had that happen yet. Do you know, Flora?
I don't believe we've ever had that happen. No, typically people's pay only goes up, or at least we hope. So if you're over income, you're not going to be under income later, probably.
Yes, unless there's a situation that happens. But another situation could be that the area median income, the HUD numbers change. And so if you were over income in 2022, but then in 2023, you end up being eligible. That's another situation that we have had. So like every year, the numbers do change. And last year we had a really big increase in the AMI. So it is possible that if you don't in this year, that you might next year. So, and we can like work with you if that's like a really close cutoff.
Okay, so another question, is there a time frame for you to choose a home after approval? And this, again, has a slightly complicated answer with the lenders, but is pretty straightforward for us.
So after we list our houses to everyone in our applicant pool, there is a 5-day period where you can submit a contract if you're interested and qualify.
And after you get your email from us saying that you're an approved applicant, you stay in the waiting pool for as long as you want, or for as long as So there's no you can only be in the waiting pool for like a year. There's nothing like that. But for mortgage pre-qualification, they do expire, right? After a little while.
Yes. So to any of the lenders on the call, Mary or Cynthia, how long is your pre-qualification good for until you need to pull it again?
At Town Bank, we don't have an official expiration date on our pre-approval letters. Your credit report typically is only going to be good for 4 months. And so that's going to force us to update within 4 months. It's always a good thing to touch base with your lender maybe every few weeks or so, because things about your own situation might change, interest rates might change. We're in a market right now where rates have slowly been moving upward, which has been pushing down a lot of price points for folks. So you kind of want to keep check of the temperature, so to speak, throughout the process to find out what's going on. And you definitely want to get with us as your lender if you have any major changes that you're either thinking about or making, such as either the purchase of a car or making a job change.
Thank you, Mary. There's a question about timeshares. I'm not really sure about that. Please shoot us an email to talk more about that. You mentioned having to work with home. Do we have to participate in both programs?
No, so home is completely optional. It's just a great way to be able to access their down payment resources. So depending on the funding that they have available, they often are able to give down payment assistance to our buyers. So it's a great opportunity.
And
What is
Elizabeth,
required, I want to make sure that we aren't mixing two different things. So what Elizabeth mentioned, home for down payment assistance, but that is completely separate from the HUD class that home does also offer. So you don't have to get funding from home, but you do have to complete a HUD class, and that can or cannot be from home.
Yes, and then to be eligible for that, you do have to take their home ownership class. So if you are interested in down payment assistance, it kind of kills two birds with one stone by taking their class and then being eligible for their home counseling, which is what you must take and to then be eligible for down payment assistance.
And Elizabeth, this is Mary. If I can just mention about Home Inc.
Yeah.
If you can go through the program and get qualified for grant money with them, then if we're looking at a Virginia housing loan for you as a buyer, Virginia Housing also has their own grant program, which is 2% of the sales price, which we can add to the home grant money. And if there are other grants, like at Town Bank, we work with the Federal Home Loan Bank of Atlanta program, we can add that onto the grants as well. So you could potentially be looking at 3 grants, assuming they're all available at the time that you end up purchasing and closing. So my suggestion is, hey, go through the home grant program. You can choose not to work with them, but at least it's going to give you some additional grants and some additional options and choices.
Yes, thank you for that.
Okay, a couple more questions. We're going to blow through them. I'm going to try and help blow through them quickly. You do have to use one of your lenders. Is that right? Yes, that's right. And those are on the website again. I'll put the link in the chat one more time. Danielle asked, how long do you have to live in the home before reselling can be considered? We don't require anything. We don't require you to live in the home for any specific amount of time before you resell. But some grants, some forms of down payment assistance do carry a term on them that you might have to abide by, but we as MWCLT don't have anything like that. When and where will the next property be available? We cannot say for sure any time. Construction has been very sporadic, but it's been picking up recently. You know, I don't feel comfortable saying for sure when there will be a new home ready for anyone, but there are a bunch coming soon, and some of them are in the East End. Several of them are in the East End. There's one in South Side that's coming soon, and then of course there's Ettrick Landing. Those are all being built right now. So yeah. Is it okay to have a realtor find grants for you?
Yes, sure.
And is the online class okay, meaning the online HUD certified homeownership trainings?
Definitely. So Virginia Housing offers a bunch of online classes, and they also have self-paced class. So that is totally fine.
If this was my last step, this meaning this session, how long should it be before I make it into the applicant pool? And are there properties available at this time? There's a bunch of houses under contract. When houses become available, they typically get snatched up by our applicant pool pretty quickly. So we don't have houses available for a long time. So typically, if you ask, are there properties available at this time? Usually the answer is going to be no, but they become available all the time. They come on a rolling basis. The other question, Elizabeth, do you have an answer for that?
Yeah, so if this was the last thing, then you should very, very soon hear from us.
Great. And then Danielle asked, what are you looking for in the 6 months of bank statements?
So that is, so we are looking to verify your income. So we look at deposits to make sure that what you are reporting is in fact your income. So if your pay statements say one thing, but then in reality you're getting like $5,000 every month from some other source, that will put you over income, and therefore we would want to know. But we often look at deposits, and we may ask you about specific deposits that are not listed in your application. So that's something that we look at. So anything that's like a Zelle or Venmo deposit for a large amount of money, we are required, and that's so we don't get audited. It's part of our federal guidelines. We must ask you about the deposits that are in your bank account.
And just FYI, that request will be of the lenders as well. So a lot of what we're asking or requesting, the lenders will request of you as well. And I just wanted to mention, I don't know if we have any more questions in the chat, but I just wanted to mention, if you have additional questions, if you just want to talk about some of your fears or anxiety that may be surrounding home ownership, please reach out to me. At the end of the day, whether you utilize Maggie Walker as your route to home ownership or some other method, we really just want you all to be prepared and open to home ownership regardless of the route. And so if you just want to talk about that, please feel free to give me a call or email me.
Yes. Thank you, Candace. So there's some more questions coming through about age limit over 18. And there's not like a cap limit. So we often have folks of all ages. And then family size, depending on the bedrooms you qualify for. So that doesn't necessarily come into play, but it is in our buyer prioritization policy. One of the things that we look at is if the number of family members matches the bedrooms offered in the house. So yes and no.
Oh, I saw someone ask earlier, I forgot to say this, if your income would determine how much home you could qualify for. Only in the sense, and that's only in the sense that your income is a factor in determining how much of a loan you qualify for. And the house prices don't always line up perfectly with how big the houses are. Some larger houses are cheaper than other smaller houses. There's no one-to-one correlation. So short answer, no, not really. I'm going to launch a couple polls really quickly. My first one is just asking you guys about where you want to live and how big you want your house to be in your kind of ideal world. This is just for us so that we can gather some more data and improve our program. So if you have a second, please answer these two questions and submit. And the questions are, in what areas are you interested in owning a Maggie Walker home? And then there's a list of options. And then the second question is, how many bedrooms does your ideal home have? So please please answer those 2 questions if you can. And some more questions about Ettrick Landing in the chat. We don't have finalized floor plans or anything for Ettrick Landing yet. Once we have all that stuff figured out, we will publicize that information. And we will definitely let our approved applicants know. Ooh. Oh, I love looking at the numbers come in. So much fun. A lot of people interested in South Richmond. That's really cool.
I can't see on my end.
I will show you.
Okay.
I have a cat.
Oh, hi, Kiki.
All right. I've given y'all a chance to answer this question. It's not a big deal if you don't answer. It's just data for us. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the other poll. The second poll that I'm about to launch is just asking you if you intend to apply, and then asking just a few kind of quiz questions about what we've gone over tonight, so that we know how well we did. So please take a second. There's 4 questions. Please be sure to answer all of them and then hit submit at the bottom when you're done. And then we will let you all go. No pressure, and feel free to drop off after you answer the questions as well. It's not a big deal. There's not a lot else we have to go over. Okay, I'm just gonna give it a few more seconds for people to finish up. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and stop it right there, and we can go over the results really quickly. So a lot of people planning on submitting right away. That's exciting. Some people planning on submitting soon, also exciting. Other people need more information. Again, feel free to email any of us. All of our contact information is there. So first quiz question, true or false? MWCLT homes are fully inheritable. They can be passed down to your heirs regardless of income as long as they'll use the property as their primary residence. The answer to this question is true. They can be passed down to your heirs, either that you designate in your will or by state law. As long as your heirs agree to the terms of the ground lease as well. Question 3, what equity will you get back when you sell your MWCLT home? Your down payment, your loan principal you paid off, your monthly mortgage payments, your home's increase in value, or all of the above? The answer is all of the above. So equity refers to like it's kind of a squishy concept, but it's like how much of the house you own, basically. And if your house increases in value, that's good for your equity. If you pay off your loan, that's good for your equity because you own more of your house as you pay off more of your loan. So all of the above. How do MWCLT homes increase in value? Based on the market rate appraisal, based on the increase in the Richmond area median income, or they do not? The answer is based on the increase in the Richmond area median income. So the market is where the homes are unaffordable, right? The market is like has been increasing like crazy. It's gotten way out of reach for tons of people. So we don't want our homes to be subject to that. So instead, the value of our homes is tied to how much people are getting paid in real life, which makes it just like ties it to how much they can actually afford. So that's the point of that. And I'm done.
Thank you all so much for spending your Valentine's Day with us. And please get in touch with myself, Candace, Flora, April, or Leah, or any of the lenders if you have any questions about us. Sorry about our program. And we hope that you have a great night.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. See you. Look forward to talking to everyone soon.